To the staff, let's welcome in Logan Webb. Let's bring a friend of mine in, Pat Burrow. Pat, how are you today?
Bill, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be on with you.
Giants fans, this is Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Giants have only 3 hits. The pitch, swing, and he pops it up. Coming down the line from first to help out is Lowe, and he crashes into the catcher in foul ground. One of them caught it, and the game is over. The catcher was planted under that one for a good long while, and Lowe, with the idea that the first baseman needs to take charge on a pop-up if possible. And he kept on going for it, but it was caught and held by Riley Adams as they both then hit the deck, and they seem to be okay. And that is how this rather forgettable game, at least if you're a Giants fan, has ended.
Welcome into an extra inning post-game show with Bill Laskey as the Giants lose today 8-0, their 11th shutout of the year. Friday, they break an 8-game losing streak at Oracle with a 5-0 lead, and backwards they go. They lose yesterday 4-2. The Nationals scoring 4 runs on 11 hits. Today was mostly disappointing, frustrating, delusional. All these words just keep adding up because this was one of the worst games that I've watched this year. There was no effort, absolutely no effort as the Giants lose 8-0. The pitchers gave up 17 hits to the Nationals today, 8 runs on 17 hits. The Giants only got 3 hits, and they struck out 15 times. 15 times. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Washington Nationals that are 23 games under 500. The numbers get worse. The Marlins, the Pirates, and the Nationals all came to Oracle, and the Giants were 1-8 against them. In their last 11 games at Oracle Park, the Giants are 1-10. 1 win and 10 losses at Oracle Park. They have lost 4 series in a row at Oracle Park. Where is this team going? Is this team even a wild card selection? Is it even something we can really have faith on? Seriously, the effort today was nothing. There was no effort in this team today. Sure, Justin Verlander, congratulations on getting your 3,500 strikeout. I knew I'd get it out there. But in the second inning, he gave it up. He gave up a home run, 3 doubles and a base hit. He gave up 4 runs in the second inning. Everything was right over the plate, just like what Carson Wisenhunt did yesterday, giving up 3 home runs. The ball out of the zone was in the strike zone, and the Nationals didn't miss it. On the other side, Mackenzie Gore punches out 10 in 6 innings. 3 hits, 1 infield hit. Where's the offense? Where did it go? How come this Giants team has now gone backwards? You win 2 games in Pittsburgh, you win 2 games in New York, and you come home with a 9-game homestand. You fill the park this weekend, and you lose 2 out of 3 to the Washington Nationals. And now you're supposed to turn the page, and the Padres are coming in for 3, Tampa Bay's coming in for 3, and you're going to turn it around like magic and start right back into playing these teams that are over 500. Once this homestand's over, they play San Diego and Milwaukee and the Cubs and Baltimore. Okay, where are all these wins going to come? There's 44 games left in the season, Giants fans. 44. This team was so disappointing to watch today, absolutely no life. The fans never cheered, only once when Verlander came off in the first inning to get his 3,500 strikeout. That was it. Nothing went right. Nothing. No effort. Absolutely nothing with 15 strikeouts. 3 hits and 15 strikeouts. The offense had a 0 on it. You can't even talk about runners in scoring position today because they didn't even get a runner on second base. Nobody even touched second base today for the San Francisco Giants. What is going wrong right now? We don't know. We're not in that clubhouse. But this clubhouse needs to shake it up. If you're going to try to come in here and beat San Diego, Next 7 games, 10 games, you have 3 against San Diego, 3 against Tampa Bay, 4 against San Diego. You're at 500 right now, 59-59, and this team looked dismal today. Lackluster effort. Terrible. It was a letdown. It was a letdown for every Giants fan that paid to watch you play today. It was a big letdown for Giants fans today. And you should be ashamed of yourself, Giant players. You should, because this isn't Giant baseball. This is terrible baseball. My name's Bill Laskey, 415-808-KNBR. Jump on board. Let's talk about this dismal game today, disappointing game, lackluster effort, and I'm fired up tonight because I'm tired of watching this. I am tired of watching this lackluster team. I'm going to take a quick break, come back with more right here on Sports Leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
The rest was awful. I mean, we have 40,000 people here. We don't give them anything to root for the entire game other than that. So unfortunately, that probably is as disappointing game we've had all year. Back to JV, strikes out the side in the first and has that moment. That was great. But, you know, he's got a lot of accomplishments, a lot of stripes.
Back on the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey, Bob Melvin. That was about the only bright spot that was today. And they struck out 3 in the first inning to get that 10th pitcher ever to get 3,500 strikeouts. But what happened after that, Bob Melvin? Your team stunk today. They stunk offensively, defensively, made an error by Matt Chapman. And where did the bats go? No bats. 3 hits, 1 infield hit. Struck out 15 times. This Giants team is sinking and sinking fast. Let's get to the phone lines. Let's go to Jason in San Leandro. Jason, you're on a fired-up Extra Inning postgame show. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Bill, and I'm glad to see that you're awake and you're finally seeing how mediocre our Giants baseball is. I paid $500 at the game today, and I was disgusted. I work hard for my money, Bill. I know I don't work as hard as Justin Verlander for $15 million, but he single-handedly sunk this franchise this season. And as we see since the second half since the All-Star break, that this was the season to go for it because everyone is struggling, the Dodgers and the Padres. What if Buster had got us some more help? What if we were doing better, Bill? We could be closer to first place and maybe going to the playoffs. But now
I think you said Buster, 2 words right here, Jason. I think the 2 magic words were what if, and it didn't happen. And that's what's happening right now. To lose today 8-0 to the Washington Nationals with absolutely nothing out there that you could cheer for, and you said you spent all this money. I'm disappointed that the Giants fans had to watch this crap today because it was a terrible baseball game, both ways. 17 hits the Nationals got off the pitchers today. 17. That's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. And if you think we're going to stick around for 5 more years of this 500 baseball, 82 and 82, everybody's crazy, including the ownership. And if they don't get rid of Buster fast, I'm going to cancel my season ticket.
Jason, don't go into Buster. Don't go into Buster, Jason. Go into the players. That's what you should be screaming at. The players that you watched today didn't give any effort to you. It's not Buster Posey's fault they didn't play well today. It's not Bob Melvin's fault. It's each one of these players that put that uniform on today and went out there and tried to play baseball. And it was pathetic. It was 100% pathetic. Let's go to David in Aptos. David, you're on with Bill Laskey on a Sunday post-game show. Giants lose 8-0. 15 strikeouts today.
Did I dare to try to be positive?
Absolutely not today with me. This isn't a positive show today because this team stinks. And right now you're walking into the San Diego Padres for 3 games, then Tampa Bay for 3, and 4 for San Diego. You can't put a switch on this, David. This team has played pathetic this weekend.
No, okay, I won't go that way then. What I'll say is that we kind of knew this. In the backs of our minds, we knew that the Giants have struggled. They've gone through periods where they had droughts where they couldn't hit. And then they had periods where they'd win 5 or 6 in a row, and then they'd lose 3 in a row, and then they'd win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. Then they'd get swept by. And it seems like it doesn't matter what team you beat, as long as you win. If they could win 7 games in a row, they're probably not going to be able to win 7 games in a row. But if they were to win 7 games in a row right now, they would be back in the hunt. They would be. All it would take is a 7 or 8 game winning streak.
There's 44 games left,
I don't
David.
think they're going to.
44 games left. How many of those 44 do you think they should win? They're 59 and 59.
No,
44.
what I'm saying is, let's say you went and you won 7 games in a row right now. Then you don't. All you'd have to do then is like win 50% of the games that are left, or maybe, you know. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, if there's still a chance. There's still a chance.
David, let me just throw some teams at you, David. The Padres, the Brewers, the Cubs. Okay, they got the Orioles. Then you go into September, and then you have the Cardinals. The D-backs are playing better. You have the Dodgers for 7 games. You have the Diamondbacks again. This team has to win these games. How are you going to beat teams that are over 500 when you're losing to teams in last place? This is the team you should have won. You should have swept the Nationals the way they've been playing. They were 1-7 coming into this series, and they looked like they had more energy than the Giants did. The Giants are 1-10 in their last 11 games at Oracle Park. 1-10 coming into home, playing at your home ballpark. They can't score. They can't get any runs with runners in scoring position. It is pathetic baseball right now. Pathetic, and you got to look at these players to change this. Nobody else. The players need to come to play, and if they don't, you're going to watch this team go 500. They'll be 10 under 500 by the end of this month. Let's go to Sam in Arizona. Sam, you're on Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, Bill, I love your passion, and, the therapy of listening to you is helpful to somebody who lives here and pays money to watch this absolutely horrific team. The word that comes to mind, Bill, for me is embarrassing. I don't know how, and for the last caller, yes, we could win 7 in a row, but we are who we are, and what we look like
Right.
is a team that doesn't care, despite the fact that the fans show up day after day to watch this team underperform and strike out 15 times. There's only 12 other – I mean, they only put the ball in play a
30 players came up to bat today. 30 players came up to bat today. That was it.
Exactly.
30. They got 3 hits, 1 on an infield hit, 2 solid base hits. They never got a player to second base in the entire game. And you're going to say, let's turn this around and we're going to have magic against the Padres tomorrow? Seriously? Come on. This team has no effort. None. Today, they showed no effort. None. And they gave up 17 hits. That balls were right over the plate, thigh high, right across the plate, and these guys shoved it to the Giants today. James Woods, 2 for 5, 4 RBIs. C.J. Abrams, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs. Paul DeYoung, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs. 8 RBIs out of their top 4 hitters. 8. And the Giants had 3 hits. No, I'm not going with the let's turn the page and look for tomorrow. I'm looking at what I'm seeing today, and there was no effort.
There's no question, Bill. And the last thing I guess I'd say is it doesn't matter who pitches against us. I'm really tired of coaches, announcers, and others. Let's tip our cap to the other team. No. You said it when you started. 1-7 coming in were the Nats. They're not a hot team.
Yeah.
They scored no runs on Friday night. And then we must be doing something different, Bill, at home than we do on the road. And you played. I don't know what they have to change in the way they – I don't know if these guys are anxious to go out to a good dinner in San Francisco. I'm not sure what their thought process is. But to lay an egg like this in front of 40,000 people 2 days in a row, again, I'll go back to the word. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a Giants fan in Arizona, and we will end up in 4th place because despite the fact that the Diamondbacks traded players, they're playing a lot more inspired ball than the Giants are. And I don't know who to point to, Bill, for why that's the case, but it's a debacle at this point.
It sure is, Sam, and I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate how you feel. Let's go to Mike in San Ramon. Mike, you're on Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. The Giants are now 59-59. How do you feel about this team?
Hi, Bill. I think you just totally – you said it 7 or 8 times, that you took the words right out of my mouth before the first time you said it, and that is pathetic. Your last caller saying that it was embarrassing – in addition, and then when your comment about look who's coming to town, I seriously think the Giants would be lucky to win 14 or 15 of their last 44 games. I think that's the number you said, 44 games.
I did, 44.
I mean, they are just, it's unbelievable. And, obviously I think Devers is going to be here. He's going to play good down the road, but then you look at Boston and see how well they've played since they were here. But the other thing is Justin Verlander. I mean, I know he pitched a few games early in the season that he lost, but I think his sun has shined, and it's hard to watch.
Well, I think what happened today after the strikeout, he struck out the side in the first inning, gave up a couple of hits. The second inning just went right back at him. He got the ball up, had a couple opportunities to put James Wood away. He had a 2-2 or 3-2 count on him, left a slider up, and he pulled it right down the right field line. C.J. Abrams comes up, slider right across the plate, hits it right off the foul pole. Those were just things that just mounted on him after he gives up a base hit to Adams and a double to Lyle. And these were all sliders. He didn't go fastball heavy on these guys. He went with the slider against lefties, and he got too much of the plate. And too much of the plate was up. And if a left-hand hitter is going to go down and get that ball, where does those ball go? Right down the right field line, and that's what happened. Those sliders were not down in the zone enough, and they weren't in on the hands enough, and he got beat in that second inning. A home run, 3 doubles, and a base hit, and the game was over. 4 runs. And I was saying, okay, let's see how the Giants are going to respond to this. Oh, really, Bill? A base hit, 3 strikeouts. 3 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts, a walk, a strikeout, 2 strikeouts. Every inning, 1 or 2 strikeouts. And they were swinging. It wasn't called. They were swinging and missing. 15 strikeouts, Mike. Are you serious?
Yeah.
15 today?
Yeah, well,
Come on.
Yeah, it is. You know, you said it, pathetic. You know, I'm a first-time caller, Bill. I listen to you a lot. I listen to KNBR every morning. And when I heard the opening of your show, I was like, I got to call in because I've never heard Bill this intense ever. And I'm fired up. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I'm going to let you go. But thank you for everything you do. And thank you for your honesty in the way you're describing exactly where the team is right now.
Mike, thanks for your call and thanks for the kind words. Let's go to Randy. He was at the game. Randy, what did you see out of the lackluster performance these Giants did today?
I'll tell you what I saw. I saw Justin Verlander. We can't understand why he's still on this club. $15 million. Now, you make a mistake, sometimes you got to swallow it, and you move forward. Buster Posey said, it's time to go. Well, I know who's time to go. Verlander's time to go. He should have been out of there after the third inning. We've seen this too many times. The players don't even want to play for the guy. You could see it on their face. That's why do you think we didn't get any hits? Because they know what's going to happen. Yeah, he can get through the first inning. After that, guess what? Boom, boom, boom. Down the right field line, ugly.
The big crooked number. That's what happens. The big crooked number. It seems like it plays so much. And the Giants don't have enough offense to come back. They can't even fight back to even get a run in this game. They didn't even get a runner to second base today. Not even a one-hitter got to second base. Did Mackenzie Gore become the Cy Young left-hander? He was 4-12 coming into this season. 4-12 coming into this game today. And he put him down 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts in 18 outs. That's what he did today.
That's unbelievable. That's all I got to say, Bill.
Appreciate your time, and I'm so sorry you went to the pathetic game today because the Giants didn't they didn't play in front of 40,000 people today. They were very embarrassing. I love that caller that called them that, and it was embarrassing for Giants fans to come out there today to cheer this team on, and the effort that they gave was none. There was no effort today. Let's go to Jim and Dixon. Jim, you're on with the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. How are you?
Bill, thank you for your passion. I'm in my backyard lifting weights, breaking up cardboard, trying to calm down. I wasn't out there. I watched the game. You're exactly right. We don't have people who have passion. We don't have people who want to show passion. Our veterans, our rookies come up. They may have some passion for a minute. Our veterans take it away from them. Even our youngsters have no passion, no heart. There's no leadership on this team. We trade away a couple good leaders. We got something back, but we trade away some good leaders. Our coaches, I need to see Bob Melvin do something. I'm not blaming him. I need to see him show some passion, get pissed off, do something. I mean, knock over a water cooler if you have to, because this one today was horrible. That's my word.
Yep.
Horrible.
Yep.
I
agree
mean
with you.
horrible.
I agree with you.
Embarrassing.
And the other thing too is they're at home. They are 1-10 at home in their last 11 games. 1 win in 10 losses. The last homestand, they lost 6. They lost 2 to the Dodgers before the All-Star game. And then they come home after they beat the Mets and the Pirates in 2 series, and they lose to the Nationals in front of this ballpark, in front of Giants fans with a lackluster offense today? Come on. That was totally disheartened for Giants fans. They were disappointed walking out of that ballpark. A fan calling how much money he spent today. He was embarrassed to put a Giants jersey on today. This is what we have to stop. This is what Giants fans need to holler about. This is what Giants players need to get uproared about and go out and play hard. Today they didn't play hard. Today they didn't even play.
And the pitching isn't good either. So there you go. And I want to see Willie Adames hit the ball to right field with 2 strikes. Just once.
Mm-hmm.
And see some of these guys make some adjustments in the count. I mean, I'm not a baseball guy, but I've watched baseball since I was 7, and I'm 70. And I'm so tired of watching guys who get up there. They're supposed to be professional hitters, professional baseball players. They get up there, and they just wave at the ball with a guy. I mean, we did get a good hit. Ramos, the first pitch of the game. The rest of it was
and I thought the same
horrible.
thing you did, Jim. I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's go. Here we go. And what happens? Devers strikes out. Adames strikes out. Flores hit that ball deep to center field. That was the hardest ball hit all day. Nothing was hit hard.
Yeah.
A hard ground ball right at guys. You can't tell me that. There was nothing in the gaps. Nothing. They had 3 hits. 3 hits. And one was an infield hit that Bailey hit down a third base line. That was 1 hit. The other 2 were base hits, and you said it. Ramos with the first hit of the game. They had 0 after that. 30 players came up to bat. 30 players. That was it. 30, and 15 of them struck out. Pathetic. Thank you for your call, Jim. Appreciate your passion. Yep. All right, we're going to take a quick break on Extra Innings and come back with more calls. I'm Bill Laskey. We'll take a quick break on the Sports Leader.
From the mound to the mic, this is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him by saying to your smart speaker, play KNBR.
I think more just about winning another series here and taking more momentum into the series against the Padres. I thought we were going to play a good game today. I really did, and unfortunately we did not.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show. We wished we would have momentum going into this series tomorrow. We wished that we could have beat the Nationals 2 out of 3. Wishing in one hand and doing in the other is two different hands, and right now the Giants stunk today.
The rest was awful.
As they lost 8-0. And you're right, Bob Melvin, it was awful. It was definitely awful. But so we got to turn the page. Logan Webb on the hill tomorrow, Robbie Ray on the hill Tuesday. But who in the hell's going to hit for us? We had 3 hits today. 3 hits today, no runs. No runs. Got beat yesterday. 2 runs on 8 hits. Okay, so where's this offense going to come? When is this offense going to come to play for the Giants? I've been waiting all year. I've been patient. I've been saying next series, we're going to keep winning. We're going to keep winning. Well, today that period ended. Today was the day I got frustrated. Today was the day when I said this baseball team was pathetic. And today, Giants fans had to sit out at that ballpark and watch this team. Frustrated, disappointing, lackluster effort. All the adjectives that you could throw on this team right now, and they're 500, 59-59. They're 29-28 at home, and they were 12 games over 500 at one time. They are 1-10 at Oracle Park their last 11 games. They've lost 4 series in a row at Oracle Park. This is their home crowd. They came out to watch you play today. Giants players need to wake up. Giants players need to look at each other and have a Giants players meeting. No coaches, no trainers. Keep them out of the room. But fire yourself up. Fire this team up between you guys, because that's the people that need to focus on the next game. Not the coaches. Don't blame Bob Melvin. Don't blame Buster Posey. Focus on that 27-man roster. Focus on these guys going up there striking out 15 times. Focus on the players, Giants fans, not the administration, not the coaching staff, the players. The players, P-L-A-Y-E-R-S, players. They need to focus better. They need to play better. And they got 44 games left in this 2025 season. 44. That's it. And they got to turn it around or they're going to be under 500 real quick. Let's get back to the phone lines. Let's go to Ed in Pittsburgh. Ed, you're on a fired extra inning post-game show. How are you?
Hey, Bill, I'm doing fine. Yourself? I'm just a little
fired up today, Ed. I'm sorry. I'm a little fired up today. I'm fired up because this game just got me real upset today.
Well, that makes 2 of us. And, in fact, I've been frustrated since the Dodgers series. It's what frustrates me the most is that the team is not taking advantage of what the other teams are giving them, especially on the offensive side. You got runners at first and second. Sometimes you got 1 out, sometimes there's no outs, and you got the infield paying you all the way around the bags at the edge of the grass. Can someone, I don't care if you're the power hitter, drop down a bunt down the third base line or the first base line? You guarantee to beat it out because they so deep in the infield. That's plenty of things that's killing us. You got Ramos. He's batting leadoff, but he's trying to hit everything to right field. When he does turn on one, it's just warning track power. You check the stats. When was the last time he has homered and the last time Lee has homered? I haven't seen Lee homer since New York or Colorado. And this is
well, I tell you, Ed, I'd rather not have Jung-Hoo Lee try to go out of the ballpark. I'd rather have him go 2 for 3 or 3 for 4. I want to see him get on base. That's what he's supposed to be doing. Today 0 for 3 with 2 punch-outs, swinging out of the zone, swinging away from the plate. The strikeouts today just mounted up, 15 of them, striking out, swinging right through the pitches, breaking balls that are on the outside corner off the plate, swinging through. The intense of the hitters today, the interest of each at bat, the focus of each hitter wasn't there today. And it started after Ramos got the first hit of the game. And after that, it went silent. And I keep saying this, Ed, Only 30 players came to bat today. 30. That was it.
And when you talk about the outside pitches, the breaking balls that you can see 1,000 feet away is Adames. He is a victim of that.
Yes.
Ramos is a victim of it. Chapman, he's starting to be a victim of strikeouts again. It's like they lose. They play the team they should be losing to. They beat the ones that they should win. They get embarrassed at home. That's like the second shutout in the last 2 or 3 series at home that we've had, and it's just frustrating as a fan. It makes you not even want to go back out to the park. But one other comment I'd like to make before I get
11
off.
shutouts, Ed. 11 shutouts on the year this team has. 11 out of 59 losses. 11 shutouts. And you're talking exactly what's happened today, another shutout. Teams that you say they should be beating, 1-8 at home against the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Nationals. And that's when Marlins were in last place. So they came in and swept them. And today, 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. I didn't see this one coming. I said, okay, they lost yesterday 4-2. Come back and fight today. They had an opportunity to face a lefty that was struggling. 3 straight games, giving up 4, 5, 6 earned runs, and he was just dynamic. You're supposed to tip your hat against him today? You're supposed to say, oh, Mackenzie Gore is this great pitcher. He is, but why couldn't we hit him? Why did everybody else hit him, but we couldn't? That's the question I'd like to ask the hitters.
Exactly. I have one final comment, and it's just to support something that you stated and what a lot of other callers called in regards to getting rid of Posey and Melvin. Again, they are not the ones that's getting the $1 million to stand in that batter's box. They're not getting $1 million to be pitching the ball. They're not the ones found the outfields missing their cutoff man. It is the players. It is something that they're mentally breaking down and doing. And what Melvin needs to do is light a fire under the AZZEZs in that locker room and let them know, hey, if you don't perform, you're out of here. That's all I have to say. Oh, and the Carcion, that was a big blow to lose him again.
Yep. Thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate it. Appreciate your thoughts, especially how you protected Melvin and Posey, because it's the players' fault. Look in the mirror, players. Come back tomorrow with some fire, because you didn't have any fire today. You got 40,000 fans out there fired up to cheer you on, and you disappointed every one of them. Every one of them, Giant players. Players, Players. Let's go to Adam in San Ramon. Adam, you're on an Extra post-game show. How you doing today?
Hey, pretty good, man. I just wanted to chime in on everything you're talking about. I was actually in San Francisco for the game. Sorry, I'm a Sacramento A's fan, formerly an Oakland A's fan. And I watched Bob Melvin for many years, and I hear everyone calling in and saying, it has nothing to do with Bo Mel. But I watched. He is a player's coach. And what I'm seeing from this Giants team right now is some players that feel like this is a lost season. And I saw this many times in Oakland where Bo Mel was like, Bo Mel, man, can you please just light a fire under whatever homeboy just said, AZZZ? And he would not. And he would pull the pitchers at the wrong time in the wrong inning, and we would lose games and inevitably playoff games because of that. So, you could say like, all right, it's all up to the players and whatnot, but Bo Mel he's got to change at some point. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I know he has a lot of wins under his belt, and I love Bo Mel. It pains me to say, but I saw this again and again in Oakland, and now I'm seeing it right now in San Francisco. It's just people that are coming to collect a paycheck, and it doesn't seem like they really care about the outcome
Well, I
of
think
the
they
game.
care. I think the effort isn't there. The focus isn't there. There's too much smiling. There's too much goofing around. They need to fight. They need to come out and want to win. And today they didn't want to win. After they gave up 4 runs in the second inning, why didn't you just put your white flag up? Because that's how I felt. There was nothing with these bats. There was nothing there that showed me you wanted to fight to win this game. And that's what's disappointing to me. I understand what you're saying about Bob Melvin and the way he coached in Oakland and the way he coached in Seattle and San Diego, but I'm an ex-pitcher, so I understand what's going on in this clubhouse. It's too much goofing around, too much lackluster play. Come on, you're better than 59 and 59, so we'll find out what happens here. All right, we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning post-game show. A couple good interviews coming up down the road. We're going to take a lot more phone calls. Andrew Kisner, I sat down with him, got to know a little bit about him and also Dave Brundage, the manager of the Sacramento River Cats. We're going to find out a little bit more about Bryce Eldridge. He hit another home run today, and we're going to find out a couple more players that he really likes at the AAA level. Both those interviews coming down the road. So we'll take a quick break, come back with more phone calls. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show on the Sports Leader. Did you ever think you could become a big league baseball player? Well, now you can. Come to Big League Coaching Fantasy Camp. It's January 11th through January 17th, 2026 in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Our host hotel is the Marriott Suites for the week. Come play with the great coaches, Joe Youngblood, Shooty Babbitt, Tim Flannery, Scott Gereltz, Mark Davis. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org and sign up today. Become a big leaguer.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
The second inning was the difference in the ball game, and don't really regret the Woods slider. Just wasn't as sharp as I would like there, but got him out front. He kind of rolled over it and just hit it right down the line. The next one obviously was kind of a dagger, putting us down 4. So it just sucks. You second and third, and you kind of work your way into being able to get out of it with one pitch, and you don't make it, and then a few pitches later it's 4 runs. Even if I kept it at 2, I'd have been happy. Not happy, but feel like okay from there and keep us in the ball game. Second inning, the sliders just that was pretty much it.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show. That's one thing I can say about Justin Verlander. He is the honest person in post-game shows. He'll tell you like it is, and he said my slider was flat. I gave up too much of the plate, and he says I put my team down 4-0. And you look at it, and here's Justin Verlander, 42 years old. Sure, he is proud of the moment of 3,500 strikeouts. Immense. That's just unbelievable. 10 pitchers in the history of baseball did that. His career has been fabulous. What he's done here, ups and downs with the Giants, ups and downs. There's been some great games. His last 3 starts, he only gave up 1 earned run. Today, that second inning beat him up and beat him bad. 4 runs. And I keep repeating it, a home run, 3 doubles, 1 base hit. And they did. They got behind. And he had an opportunity to get out of that inning after he gave up a base hit and a double. He punches out House. He gets a ground ball to Young with the infield in. And he had James Wood 3-2. And he threw the slider, and he got too much of the plate, and it wasn't down enough. And James Wood is only hitting 100 off breaking balls. So he had to throw breaking ball, but of course James Wood was looking for it, and he mashed a double down the right field line, opened up the game to 2-0. And C.J. Abrams right after it threw another slider that was across the plate, and Abrams hit it right down the right field line, hitting the pole. And that's what Justin Verlander said. I put my team behind 4-0, and that was a disaster.
The rest was awful.
What we saw from the offensive side, as Bob Melvin just said, it was awful, and it was awful on the point of hitting. Making contact, 3 hits, 15 strikeouts. This is big league team. This is a major league team. This is the San Francisco Giants we've been rooting for all year. Come on, Giants players, you can play much better than this. You got to focus a little bit better. When you look at what the Padres are doing, the Padres are 66-52. They beat the Red Sox today 6-2. They won 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. They're coming in town right now. The Dodgers lost to the Blue Jays to 5-4. The Blue Jays scored 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th to win that. So you're looking at the standings right now. San Diego's only 3 games out of first place. You think they're going to come in here and fold? No, they're going to come in here and want to sweep the Giants. They're going to roll right now. And this is what you have to stop. You got to stop the bleeding here. You got to come out with Logan Webb and throw a gem, and you got to get him runs. Robbie Ray's got to come back on Tuesday and do the same. You got to try to win this series against the Padres. And it's 3 games. Then you have an off day. Then Tampa Bay comes in here. So it's not an easy schedule now. You had 3 games here. You had an easy schedule with the Nationals. And you gave it up. You lost 2 out of 3. So turn the page. We can turn the page every day. It's a 162-game schedule. And there's 44 games left. But when will that period end? When is that period going to end when we're going to look and say, is this season over? Is the 2025 season hope over? Are we going to look for 2026? I don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. I don't want to hear it. I want to believe in this team. I do. And today, boy, it took a lot of wind out of my sail today watching this game. Really disappointing. Let's go to Lucas. He's in Danville. Lucas, a tough game today. The Giants are now 59-59. What'd you see today?
Yeah, it was absolutely awful, and you've really hit every point. The one thing I wanted to bring up, you talked about a players-only meeting. I just don't think any of the players on this squad have any intensity whatsoever. I see all these other teams with intensity, and then our guys, they strike out, and they walk to the dugout like a kid in Little League that struck out. There's no fire. There's no Hunter Pence. There's nobody that's going to be like, we need to step up. We need to win. We're good. I don't see that out of any players. And I sit in section 143 in the bleachers, and I saw something during the Mets series I hated. And I get it. I get it that all players are human beings, but we had just blown the lead to the Mets, and we're changing the pitcher, and Heliot Ramos walks over to the Mets bullpen, and he's laughing and joking around with the Mets players. And I'm like, we're losing the game. Get your focus. Come on.
Yeah, I see too much of that too, Lucas. And as ex-player, when I pitched, Frank Robinson was my manager. Danny Ozark was my manager. Even Jim Davenport. They didn't want you to even smile at the other team. They didn't even want you to say hello to the other teammates. That was your rival. That was the opponent. You were out there to beat them. That's the way we played baseball. That's the way I learned how to pitch. There was no other friends on that opposing team till the game was over. Then you could go out to lunch or dinner with them. But when you step on that field, there's just too much chatter. There's too much laughter. Guys get on second base. Willie Adames is joking around with them. They get on first base. You see the first baseman talking to them. Stop it. Let's go to war with these opponents. And that's what you're seeing, the same thing I'm seeing, Lucas, and it has to change.
Yeah, the only time I see any intensity is when they do the Gatorade dump at the end of the game if we win, which is a rarity right now. And then my son sent me this post last night. Kind of annoyed me. After that loss yesterday, Willie Adames is at the Valkyries game, like having a good time. And it's like, I get it. Again, they're humans, but I'm broken up by the loss. You're broken up by the loss, and then here these guys are. They're on the team that they're out having a good time, having a beer at a basketball game.
Yeah, I can't touch on what happens once they leave the ballpark. You said it. They're human beings. I don't say one thing about their human life. I don't say one thing about their families, anything like that. I'm worried about what I see in 9 innings. That's what I'm focused on. And I understand what you're saying. They are human. They can do whatever they want once they get out of the ballpark. But once they get to that ballpark, I want better focus out of them. I want better intensity out of them. That's what they're lacking right now. And that's what I want to change. Because you know what? They're going to get steamboated here with some of the teams they're playing. Because these teams aren't going to give up. They're going to score double digits every inning if they can. The Padres are going to try to catch the Dodgers. They're coming in here. Matter of fact, the Giants play them 7 out of the next 10 games. They're not going to come down here and lay low against the Giants because they just got beat 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. No, they're going to come double-digit them every game. And you're going to see them high-fiving. But the Giants got to do something different. They need to come back with a little fire tomorrow. They need to come back with some fight tomorrow. And if they do, let's see what they can do. But I appreciate your call, Lucas. Let's go to Mountain View and talk to Michael. Michael, you're on an extra inning post-game show. How are you tonight?
How are you doing, Bill?
I'm a little fired up. Just disappointed. I'm just disappointed in the focus that they did today. That's about it. And I think most Giants fans are seeing the same thing.
I'm disappointed that the Giants can't get clutch hits, and we don't have a clutch hitting. And people say, wait and see, you're too hard on the Giants. It usually seems like in the first part of the year they do well, and the second part of the year they can't do a thing. And I'm tired of waiting around next year, and we're not getting quality pitching and quality hitting, quality timely hitting. That's why, like a Cal Ripken, for example. Maybe not to be over exaggerating, but I liked him for a player and that he can hit. But we don't get that little quality hits, and that upsets me. I'll take the rest off there.
Well, Michael, I'll just throw something out. I think the pitching's been pretty damn good. The bullpen back when Rogers and Duvall were number one for almost 60% of the season going into June, and they had steamboated a couple times in June, but they still had a nice low earned run average. The starting pitching was doing fine with Landon Root pitching with Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. Those three were really good together. And then the positive when Verlander came in, you just got too many big innings, crooked numbers on innings. They couldn't catch up. And then there was times when Verlander came out of the game in the 5th and 6th inning with leads, and the bullpen gave it up. The pitching side is questionable. Yes, I think it's much better than what you're saying. The hitting side is where I have problems with. Runners in scoring position has been pathetic. You look at what Matt Chapman's done. Matt Chapman's a Gold Glove, platinum runner, platinum glove player. But you look at what he's done with runners in scoring position, how about 3 for 34? 3 for 34 with runners in scoring position, $143 with only 2 RBIs. At home, he's sitting under 200. On the road, he's sitting over 265. What can you do with Matt Chapman? Matt Chapman is going to be here for years. He has to develop better contact, striking out way too much. And I think those are the things we want to see changed. We want some better at-bats. Today, they gave this game away with their at-bats. 15 strikeouts, you just can't do anything with it. Let's go to Don in San Francisco. Don, you're on an extra inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. How are you doing today, Don?
Oh, pretty good. I'm just so fed up right now what's happened to the Giants today. They're playing like they were just didn't want to have their stuff going, They played like they were down. I don't know. They
didn't have any energy today, Don, and it got to be worse and worse by the inning.
I'm just don't know what to tell you, Bill. I'm just so disgusted this year. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you're frustrated like all Giants fans, Don, and you have a right to be. You have a right to say the things that you want to say because this is Giants baseball. This is what we breed on. This is what we wait all winter for, to watch this game and to watch these guys play. They were 12 games over 500 at one time. They were in first place fighting the Dodgers in the middle of June. What the hell happened to this team? How come they can't beat last place teams? I don't know. You don't know. But the focus has to go on these players. They have to have better at-bats. They've got to score more runs. And this is what it's been pathetic here watching this dismal game today, Don.
I wish they can just do something, just do at least try to win, do something,
Well, let's see what they can do. We can't look at next year yet. We still got 44 games left, and yes, I would love to see a winning streak. I'll be the first person to be cheering for them if they can win 3, 4, 5 games in a row. But it starts with a series. Win a series. I thought it changed when they went to New York and they beat New York 2 out of 3. They come to Pittsburgh, lose their first game. They come back and win 2. They come back and they beat Nationals on Friday. Hey, I was right there with them. The adrenaline was kicked in. Here we go with some momentum. And then the last 2 games, not good. Not good at all, Don. But I'm right with you, and I am disappointed like you are. Let's go to Roderick. He's in Danville. Roderick, how are you, young man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Bill?
I'm a little fired up today, Roderick. It just got to me. Just disappointed in what I'm watching, and I'm disappointed in how the game has been played with these players. How about you?
I think it was horrible. I was at the game today. No excitement, no energy. The only 2 good things I can say I got from the game is my popcorn bat and seeing Verlander's 3,500th strikeout. But then I hate
that's not too much to cheer for, is it, Roderick? It's not too much to cheer for right there. You wanted to see a better baseball game. You wanted to see a game where the Giants were playing to try to win a game and not lose 8-0.
Yeah, I wanted to be up on my feet, hollering for all the players, seeing how good they should be winning by. This is a last-place team. We shouldn't be seeing them losing to the Nationals.
I'm right there with you.
And
the way Mackenzie Gore threw today, Roderick, he was throwing like they didn't even know what was coming. They didn't even know if it was a strike or a ball. When you see 15 strikeouts and probably half a dozen of those were balls outside the zone, the focus on the bats weren't there today with this team.
Yeah, the bats were horrible. They just only 3 hits compared to 17. It's just horrible. And also, I don't like how people blame Buster because he is getting all these good players and they're not playing good. They're not achieving what they should be achieving.
Yeah, they're not playing together. That's what I've always said on this team. You don't see 3 or 4 guys get hot in this offense. You're only seeing 1 here, 1 there. Devers hits 2 home runs in the last 2 games. He struck out twice today. You need somebody to pick him up. Roderick, you played Little League. You played baseball. One goes down, the next guy picks up the next guy. That's how baseball's played. That's how you get team unity. Today, there was no unity with these at-bats. They just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, and what I thought was also horrible, not a single runner made it to second base.
Yep. The runners in scoring position, they were 0 for 0 today, and that was one of the biggest things, the downfall of this Giants offense. But You're absolutely right. 3 hits, and there was absolutely no energy on that offense. But let me ask you one thing. What can they do to change this, Roderick? What do you see in this team that they need to change to try to win?
I think they need to change their attitude. One thing I don't like seeing is like them being all excited and like saying hi to the other team. What I want to see them is like that as soon as they step on the field, the other team, they want them to be going home crying, horrible mood. I need to see them more competitive, more energized. I was not happy.
I agree with Roderick. I agree with you 100%. I think the focus has to be on the game and not friendship with opponents. I like that thought, Roderick. And you know what? You see a lot of good things, and I appreciate the call. And you really broke down the game great, and I appreciate everything you do. And continue to keep watching the game like you do because you really analyze it well.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, Roderick, take care. Let's go to Mark Anthony. He's in San Lorenzo. Mark Anthony, Giants lose. They're now 59-59. What do you think of this club right now?
Bill, I spoke to you 2 weeks ago, and I was feeling like you were today 2 weeks ago, because since the All-Star break, they've been a lousy team, maybe one of the lousiest teams in the majors. Because you just asked a minute ago, what is it that this team is missing? You know what they're missing? They're missing heart. They play heartless baseball. I watched the Bill. I had better time. I racked up my knee playing bowling yesterday, so I'm laying in bed watching TV. I was having more fun watching golf than watching the Giants play, because I saw a bunch of batters come up.
That's disheartening, you know, Mark Anthony. That's disheartening because we as Giants fans, and I'm a Giants fan, I watch every pitch of every game. I analyze everything, and today I was just getting madder and madder because I was waiting for them to break out, get a couple runs, chip away, and it just didn't happen. And then you'd get on the defensive side, and they would score more runs, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and 2 in the 7th was on an error by Matt Chapman. It was a 2 unearned runs, but still, they still got hits. 17 hits. That's a lot of hits. And when I'm back in my day, I'm sorry, I would be saying I'm brushing somebody back because somebody's either too much on the plate, watching the ball come across too much. You got to go inside a little bit more, and I didn't see that at all today.
Hey, Joe, a couple callers back, you were bringing up baseball, right? You're talking almost 40 years ago when you played ball, Bill. A lot has changed. Now when a guy hits a home run, he celebrates. He looks at his ball. He throws his bat. In the old days when you played, what would have happened to the next batter or that guy next time he came up?
You're absolutely right. And you know, most of the time that pitcher would be screaming at him going around the bases, celebrating like that.
Absolutely.
You put your head down, you rounded the bases. And I could go even farther back, Mark, when Bob Gibson or even J.R. Richard, any of those guys, you do something like that to Nolan Ryan, you know you're going to have one in the ribs. You know you're going to embarrass yourself. You got one, that's on you. But don't embarrass me on the mound because then I have to do something to you. That's how we played baseball. But they don't do that anymore. They don't do anything like that, because they get tossed out of the game. They go at them with that. That's the umpire's decision, so baseball has been controlled. So there is ways to do it. There are ways to brush people back where you're not headhunting, and there's also a way where you can hit somebody in the ribs or the buttocks and make a point. So there are ways to do it. I just don't think they do it in this way of baseball.
About scoring runs, I saw guys swinging at anything that came up to the plate today. It was ridiculous. This guy was throwing junk, and they were swinging at it. They come up. It seems like they don't have a game plan. Adames comes up, swings after the other guy struck out. Devers. Adames comes up and swings at the first 2 pitches. He doesn't even know where it's coming from, and the guy's just playing with them. And it's just ridiculous to see this kind of heartless baseball. That's what came to my mind as I'm listening and waiting for my time to come up. And it's ridiculous, Bill. I've been talking to you since spring training, and our hope was high. They played beautiful spring ball. They came into the season.
I was right with you, Mark Anthony. I was right there with you. I was there 2 weeks ago. I really thought after the All-Star break, Toronto, they were going to go at least 1 or 2 in Toronto. They got swept. Just the way they came out after the All-Star break, it wasn't inspiring at all. And they just kept going back and back and back, farther and down. And you know what? You come home and you lose a 6-game homestand in front of your team, in front of your fans. That was disappointing to me. And then today I just couldn't go any further. I had to let it loose, and I'm disappointed like all Giants fans. I'm not ripping on players. I'm ripping on focus. I'm ripping on energy. I'm ripping on getting better and not going backwards and just putting the white flag up because the other team scored 4 runs in the second inning. You got to fight. You said it. They're heartless. You got to fight. You got to go into the box and try to get a hit. Next guy, try to get a hit. Next guy, try to get a hit. You got to try something here because you're just going to keep falling backwards. And you know what losing teams do? Once you fall behind the 8 ball, Mark Anthony, you don't get behind it. You don't ever get in front of it. And that's what's going to happen with this team if they start getting exploited with some of these good teams.
Bill, you know who turned it around since the trade of Devers? Boston is now the team. That's almost 12 games over 500, and the Giants are just at 500. They're the ones that benefited from this
I don't
trade.
compare that, Mark Anthony. I'm not going to compare what Boston's done since Devers left. I'm not going to do that. That's a whole different team.
Okay.
That's a whole different energy. They have younger players now. They're playing better baseball. The Giants have to play better baseball. It's not on Rafael Devers. It's not about the trade of Devers. It's about this team, and the concept of hitting needs to come alive. Because if they don't come alive, they're 59-59, and they got one tough schedule coming for them. So let's find out if this heart is true. Let's find out if this Giants team can come back and fight. But we'll find out, Mark Anthony. Thanks for the call. All right, let's go to Andrea. She's been waiting at Berkeley. Andrea, how are you on a Sunday afternoon? Hopefully you're better than I am.
Oh, we appreciate your Sagittarius honesty. You know, it is what it is. So you call them as you see them, and yeah, it was a tough loss. I guess on one hand, we'll give kudos to Justin Verlander for 3,500 strikeouts. But again, we have to balance that. I always said to moderate our expectations. He's February 20th, 1983. And I always say he's an extra pitching coach for the Giants. So he's a good mentor. But that said,
he is. And his accomplishment today, Andrea, his accomplishment in getting 3,500 strikeouts is immense. 10 pitchers only in Major League Baseball. I applaud him. I really do. I applaud him for going out there at 42 years old. But then you look on the opposite side, giving up 4 runs in that second inning isn't making this team try to win. So there has to be a balance here somewhere. And that's what I'm saying. He's good. He's good at what he's doing. At 42, is that the guy that you're going to shine with? Is that the guy you're going to move forward with? I like him. I honestly like him. I like him how he competes. But is he going to be that guy that's going to win you games? That's the question mark.
Right. And like I said, we have to moderate our expectations and, you know, give him his flowers, but really not count on him all that much. And, just perspective. Yankees have lost 7 of 9. Mets lost 8 in a row. So, you know, it's a bit of a challenge. But some better news, Mercury's coming out of retrograde tomorrow, August 11th. So there's that. And we did have a nice full moon weekend.
Well, the
and
full
it was
moon's
8-8.
been beautiful, Andrea. They have been
It
really
has.
gorgeous. And I loved how they had it on the Giants game the other night. The full moon, it was orange. It was great. I love that time of year when that shows up. But we'll find out, Andrea, if this thing turns. We're hoping for the best. I think all Giants fans are hoping to get on a roll here. 44 games left, though, Andrea. The finish line's coming too quick, and they're a 500 team right now. So we'll find out, Andrea. But have a great week, Andrea, and thanks for the call. Let's take a quick break on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Come back with more phone calls. Got a couple great interviews down the road. Andrew Kisner and Dave Brundage, the manager of the River Cats, to find out what's going on in Sacramento. But we'll come back with more phone calls, interviews. Everything's coming up next right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR, the sports leader.
Hi, it's former Major Leaguer Buddy Biancalana. It was my zone experience in the World Series in which I played the best of my career that led to being the founder of Zone Motion, the only mental training program proven through research and studies to enhance performance and expedite development for athletes of any age. Whether you're a professional or any level amateur, regardless of your sport, Zone Motion is for you. You can check out this life-changing program at zonemotion.com. And go Giants!
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Here's the pitch. That one is lined into the gap in left center field. And that's going to get one and probably two home. In to score is Adams. Right behind him, Young. And he'll score. Into second is Wood. And after that two-out error, the Nationals take advantage. Another two-out hit. It's 8-0.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show with Bill Laskey on a Sunday. Got a couple direct messages to me. A buddy of mine out of Cleveland, Ohio, Marty, says, what's going on with the Giants? How can they continue to lose the last-place teams? Marty, if I had an answer for you, I'd definitely tell you. But this is what's happening with the Giants, especially when you look at the homestand when the Marlins and the Pirates and the Nationals all came in. The Marlins at that time were in last place, and they were 1-8 against all three of these teams. So, Marty, they got to do better, and now they're playing with the San Diego Padres who are coming in after they beat the Red Sox 2 out of 3. Mavo from San Francisco says, Bill, we need to get focused. These players need to focus a little bit more. Worry about what's on the field and not talking to the opposition. Mavo, you're absolutely right. And let's see if this continues. Let's see if this team can challenge the opposition and play a little bit better. The focus has to be better, and you're 100% Mavo. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Let's go to Hayward and talk to my buddy Rick. Rick, you're on Extra Innings on a Sunday. What's going on, buddy?
I promised your call screener I wouldn't go and just talk about the offense. But I've been looking at the schedule. It's even worse than you brought up lately. What are we 1-10 in our last 11 games? We're actually 7-17 in our last 24 games. 7-17.
I know you got numbers for me. I know you got numbers
That's
for
ridiculous.
me, Rick. You do this to me all the time, and 1-10 is the number I'm looking at home at Oracle. Yeah. And now they're 29-28 at Oracle, and they were 10, 12 games over 500.
Exactly. But think about that. 7-17 in Oracle in our last 24 games.
Wow.
And on top of that, this year, the team has scored, 2 runs or less in 21 games at home. What do you think their record in those 21 games at home where they've scored 2 or less runs is?
Not good. Not good at all.
2. They've won 2. Mm-hmm. 2 of 21 games.
So what happens, Rick? What does this offense need to do? Because you and I go back and forth like a tennis game, and they're not getting good at bats. 15 strikeouts, Rick. This can't happen on August 10th.
Yeah, I didn't have enough time to calculate all the strikeouts versus at bats and all that, but I'll come back someday, maybe at the end of the season, and we'll do a postmortem on this. But think about this. In 2022, I won't go to 21, but in 2022, the team was 59-59. 23, they were 63-58. And last year, they were 60-58 at the 118 game mark. In those years, 2022, 81-81, 23, 79-83. Last year, 80-82, and who knows about this year. Now, I'm gonna say, what's the difference between Farhan and Gabe Kapler versus the new guy, Bob Melvin? I mean, I heard the guy call up earlier and say this has been wherever Melvin goes, this happens. That's BS. Melvin and Oakland took that team, a team of no-name players that basically was washed out, castaways and minor leaguers, and he had them winning year after year after year after year.
Got him in the playoffs. Got him in the playoffs a few years.
He got him in the playoffs like 8 out of 14 years. I mean, I know all the A's fans don't want to acknowledge the fact that he took him to the playoffs because that would be going against the grain. But he was a good manager for that team. The problem I see is, and I hate to say this, but I think he's giving too much reign to the vets. He has a veteran-laced team now.
He does.
And he had one.
But that's what he likes. When you
get
veteran managers like this, Rick, that's what they want. Bruce Bochy liked a veteran lineup. When you get established managers, they want older players because he knows that they can contend with the pressure. And what's happening here, the pressure is eating up these veterans. I mean, Willie Adames was hot. He's cold again. Matt Chapman's been cold again. And these are 2 big names in this lineup that just need to perform, and they're not. I threw you the numbers for Matt Chapman with the runners in scoring position, 3 for 34. 3 for 34 for a guy hitting 4th and 5th in the lineup. The strikeouts, the pop-ups, the ground balls. There's no hidden agenda here. He is struggling with runners in scoring position along with others.
I have to say, Matt, I have to give him kind of a pass. I don't think he's playing healthy. I think ever since he's come back from the jammed hand or whatever
the
happened,
hand's struggling, huh?
The fingers and all that, he hasn't been the same batter at all. At all. I mean, it's just obvious. Willie Adames, this is Willie Adames, though. I mean, bottom line, this is what he did in Milwaukee. He's doing the same here. He doesn't hit for an average, Bill. He never has.
He had one year where he hit for an average. I think it was last year. I think it was the best year was last year. the home run balls come and go. I mean, when you're looking at what he's doing, he's got 433 at bats, 436 today, hitting only 230. He's got to add another 10 to 15 points on the batting average, and he's not there yet.
It's just I've been harping on the fact that this team can't play at Oracle Park, and I've been saying this for a long time. I mean, if you look at especially night games, not so much day games, but at night, nobody hits home runs, especially the Giants. After today, the Giants have scored 207 runs all year in 57 games now. 207. They've been outscored at home by the opponents 226 to 207 in 57 games.
And
so
probably opponents have more home runs than they do, Rick. The opponents have more home runs. I bet they do.
They do. And I understand the whole concept here. It's because opponents come in, they play 3 games, they leave. They can suck it up for 3 games and do the job, especially during day games. I think Bob needs to be more proactive here. He has to start taking the liberal swings away from these guys. Hey, if it's Willie Adames and there's runners at second and first and there's nobody out or one out, bunt him to third, especially when you have the guy that
the runners in scoring position just cannot continue because it's constant, and they're losing so many games, Rick, with so many people left on base. And you look at other teams, and the other teams are 4 or 5, maybe for 10, 11 guys left on base. The Giants are always 1 or 2. That's one of the biggest things they've had in the last couple of years. It seems like that has been they were good in the beginning of the year. You and I talked about it. April, May, they were hitting balls. They were getting balls in play. Flores was on fire. There was other players hitting with runners in scoring position. All of a sudden, in June comes on, and they go 13 and 14 in May, 13 and 14 in June. That's when everything started falling backwards. Middle of June, they were tied for first place. They were beating teams in the middle of June. Then what's happened? 9 and 15 the month of July. It was a terrible month.
What was it? They were actually tied for first place in that first Friday night game in L.A. that they won.
Yep.
And then ever since then, it's just been a downhill slide.
Webb threw a gem, too. Boy, Webb threw a gem that
night,
that was,
too.
Rick,
I mean,
I got to run, man. I got a whole board of calls, but I appreciate all the things you bring. I appreciate your energy, and I definitely appreciate all the numbers because they are fascinating. But thanks again for your time. Let's go to Benicia and talk to Ken. Ken, you're on our next running post-game show with Bill Laskey. A tough game today. The Giants are now 59 and 59. What do you think of this team moving forward?
Well, the Giants suck. So, but I want to talk about cost. I was at the game today, and the Giants are so bad, and I really blame a lot of it on Devers, man. I'm sorry, Devers. He comes up with a lot of key opportunities, but got to ride on him. But anyway, I was at the game, and we were watching the Cost pitch. He came in with this ranges, it was beautiful, and made it through the inning, and we were yelling and screaming behind the home plate and having a good old time. I mean, I only make it to a couple games a year up in Yuba City, and at least Cost gave us something to root for today. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was just one of those fun innings when an everyday player comes in and he gets to pitch, but when you look at it in the long run, Ken, it's when your team is getting beat pretty bad, and that's what Bob Melvin had to do instead of running another pitcher out there. Bivens went 3 innings. He couldn't throw anymore, and you throw out an everyday player to throw, and he got 3 outs, and that's a good thing about it. But I understand what you're saying because you want to be winning 8-0 to 12-0 and bring in an extra player. Today it was just one of those games, and they just could not mount an attack at all.
And what it was frustrating root for something good. I mean, it was just frustrating. It was pathetic to watch today, brother.
Yep. Well, I appreciate your call, Ken. Thank you so much. Let's go to San Jose and talk to Barfighter. Barfighter, a tough game today. The Giants now are 500. I know you're going to go off on me, so go right ahead.
Still a proud and long-standing member of the Lunatic Fringe. The Flam.
How are you today, my friend? How
I'm
are
good,
you?
Bill. How are you?
Good.
Yeah,
I went off a little bit. I was fired up when I came on. My producer goes, "Uh-oh," and I go, "No, not uh-oh. I call it from the heart. I'm not going to hide my feelings. I'm going to tell it like it is." And I'm sure a lot of Giants fans appreciate that. My phone was going off a hook after I went off on that opening thing, and they still are writing me notes. And it's the passion I have, Barfighter, and you have it also. It's the passion. I want better baseball. I want to see better baseball from the Giants. This is our team. This is the team we fight for. This is a team we watch. And that's where that passion comes from.
Prime time, man, and you chastised me in my last phone call to you, saying that I'm generally usually positive. Yeah, and I am, but I keep on hearing, and I'm going to give a foundational to KNBR interchangeable no names hosts that are currently on KNBR and on that other station. So I'm going to give them a foundation that they can speak all week about what I'm about to say. And there's no foundational players to this team. There's none. There's no foundational players. And I'm sorry, Bill. Hey, and I'm not going to blame the player. You know who I'm going to blame? I'm going to blame the president of baseball operations. I'm going to blame
Why would you do that?
The manager.
Why wouldn't you blame the players when you're a ball player yourself, Barfighter? Why wouldn't you blame the players that are coming to compete? Why are you blaming somebody in the front office that's trying to make the team better?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you ever played a game of chess?
I'd whip you in chess. I'm a very good chess player.
Okay, so I'm sure you probably would, but
I am.
If you're a chess if you're a chess master, you move the pieces into the right position, and I am not seeing that with Posey. And honestly,
why wouldn't you say
somebody's got to roll.
What position do you want fixed? What position do you want added here?
The pieces are not in the right places. They're not being moved in the correct locations where you defeat the opponent. So basically, Posey, and I will agree with some of the callers after I called my previous time, saying, "Hey, give the guy some rope and this and that." But how do you blame the players for not being able to play their part in a good composition and a good chessboard? It's the person, the chess player, that puts the pieces in the right parts and places them in the right moves.
Well, you got to look at the players as chess pieces too. The players have to be chess pieces. They have to move them on their own. They got to set themselves up, not for failure. They got to set themselves up to build that foundation. I disagree with you with there's no foundational players here. But you got to understand something. The players make the moves. Buster Posey's not up in the box, and Bob Melvin's not in the box saying, "Don't swing 3-2. Don't swing at 3-0. Don't swing right here. Don't swing so hard." It's the player doing that, Barfighter. That's why I say blame the players here, because the players aren't focused when you strike out 15 times. The players aren't focused with each at bat. That's what I'm saying. The players need to look at themselves and generate a little momentum by themselves. They need to generate that locker room. I said it earlier. Have a players meeting. Air this thing out. Get people fired up. Get some more focus in there. Will it happen? We don't know. Bob Melvin said in a post-game session the other day, we have more meetings than we've ever had. Meetings can generate interest. Meetings can generate focus. It's the player that puts those spikes on that goes out and competes.
So Melvin doesn't have any authority for the motivation of the players. He doesn't have any authority over that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying he motivates them. He's doing his meetings. He's generating interest. What is he going to do to motivate somebody to get a hit? Go get a hit, pat him on the butt, and go get him? It's not high school baseball. It's not college baseball. It's not rah-rah baseball. It's about the individual that's a professional player getting paid a lot of money to focus. And what's happening here is we're not seeing that focus out of certain players. I don't call players out. I'm calling out as a team. I'm calling out as players. I'm talking about an entire team that needs to play better, and they need to focus better. And that's what I'm saying. You can't blame coaches and managers and presidents of baseball operations when players aren't doing their job. And the players today did not do their job. To get 3 hits? No way. Against Mackenzie Gore? Yeah, he was a pretty good pitcher, but there was pitches that he was putting right across the plate, and they were missing them. On the opposite side, Justin Verlander made a few mistakes. Nationals jumped all over him. Spencer Bivens gave up a few hits right across the plate. But so did Mackenzie Gore. So did Cole Henry. But these guys they got by. The Giants didn't mount an attack. They didn't hit the ball well. So now they're behind the 8 ball right now. They're 500. And they got 2 teams coming in here, the Padres, for 7 out of the next 10 games. The Padres are 3 behind the Dodgers. Oh, they're coming after blood. The Giants need to figure it out how they're going to stop it. And tomorrow's the first game, Bar Fighter, so we'll find out. I appreciate your call as always, and I always appreciate your points. Let's go to Dave in Walnut Creek. Dave, you're on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. How are you this evening?
Good. How are you doing today?
Just a little fired up a little bit, but it's okay to get fired up. I'm a Giants fan. I love the Giants. I talk about the Giants. I'm an ambassador for the Giants. But when I see the effort they gave today,
I've been a
I'm
Giants
not happy
fan
with it.
since I'm 72 years old. I've been a Giants fan since 1962. So I was 9 years old when they played in the World Series against the Yankees. So I've been through the years with them too. We talk about Matt Chapman, he's striking out. Really, Devers and Chapman and Adames, I just looked it up. They strike out the most on the whole team. And Jung-Ho Lee doesn't hardly ever strike out. He's a pretty contact hitter. And actually, Schmidt, he doesn't strike out a lot. He's getting to be a better ball player. I think, I like
the talent's there, Dave. Don't you think? The talent is there. Don't you believe?
The which one?
The talent. The talent on this team is there. These players can compete against anybody.
They spend a lot of money to get the players they got. I don't know if Posey wanted to just try to make a big splash to see if players would come here. I don't really judge him. He's only in his first year. He has to get a little bit under his belt. He's never been a manager of the team, and Bob Melvin, maybe it's time, that he retires. He's been a manager for a long time. I appreciate that. When he's with the A's, I live in the Bay Area all my life. I was born in San Francisco. And I really think they need a manager with fire. And I don't know if I really think Will Clark would be a good manager. He seems to have fire.
But when you start throwing names like that, Dave, when you start throwing other names on there, Will Clark doesn't want to manage. Will Clark would have been in the minor leagues managing. He doesn't want to manage. He wants to do what he wants to do. Come in, help the team when he can, be an ambassador for the Giants. He's a fantastic human being. He's the kind of guy that gives you that rah-rah. Bob Melvin's not going anywhere. He's not going to retire. They just gave him an extension. He's a very good manager. He prepares immensely. Very knowledgeable manager. Very emotional manager. Very low-key manager at times. It's what you have to do within those players, those player union, that player team needs to fire each other up, and they need to get a game where they win 8-0. They need to get double-digit runs in a couple innings. That's what we haven't seen. We haven't seen that gut punch where you go out and you score 3 runs. You add 3 more. You add 2 more. That's what I want to see out of this offense, and we just have not seen that consistently. And I think that's the biggest thing, Dave, that we look forward to if the Giants can contend with 44 games left. But thanks for the call. I appreciate your time, Dave. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Thank you for all the callers. I appreciate everything that you brought onto the show. Next coming up is Dave Brundage from the Sacramento River Cats. We're going to talk what the River Cats are going down there, who's hot, who's not, and bring you a little bit more knowledge of what's going on down there as the River Cats have won 6 games in a row. They won again today. Bryce Eldridge hit a home run. Landon Root pitched 3 innings today for Sacramento, giving up 3 hits, 2 runs. He didn't walk anybody, struck out 4, threw 50 pitches, 33 for strikes, and that's from Susan Slusher. All right, we'll be right back with David Brundage right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR, the sports leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. I'm always a pleasure to get my guest on. Since 2017, he's been managing the Sacramento Rivercats. Let's bring in my good friend Dave Brundage. Dave, how are you today?
Good, Bill. Just hanging out here, and I'm not walking as much here. I think last time I was out of breath talking to you on the radio and everything like that. So
Hey, we're all getting up in age, right, Dave? So you got to keep it up.
I'm trying to walk a little slower.
Hey, the Sacramento Rivercats last couple of games have won. Though, of course, they beat Sugarland. A couple exciting games. Tell me a little bit about the last couple of games.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of nice after coming off a 2-4 road trip and obviously changes to our roster and things like that. But, you know, kind of fun for, you know, I thought it was kind of cool actually, you know, getting back home here. And, you know, I think some of the front office and you know, Jeremy Shelley and Randy Wynn and Kyle Haynes and, you know, front office guys that, you know, want to get their eyes on some of the new guys and, you know, see what we got and things like that, kind of see them in person. I thought it was pretty cool that, you know, what a first game, because, you know, not only, you know, did they perform, but obviously we get a 3-run homer from Eldridge, you know, to tie the ball game up in the bottom of the ninth and then go on to win on Drew Gilbert's, you know, ball in the gap with 2 outs, 2 strikes, and end up winning the ball game. So, you know, good first impression for those guys, and good, you know, good first impression, you know, when guys are getting to lay their eyes on some of our new players, and you know, I've been pleased so far with the effort and their showing from all of them actually, you know, and obviously Bryce Eldridge is coming into his own a little bit, where, you know, improving at first base, but even more so swinging the bat, you know, with authority.
Well, Dave, development is so huge at the AAA level. It's one step away from the big leagues. There's been teams that you've had a lot of players that are 30 years and older. But this year, it seems like young 20-year-olds. You talked about Bryce Eldridge being 20 years old. Jesus Rodriguez, who they picked up from the Yankees from Duvall, 23 years old. You talked about Drew Gilbert, 24. Blade Tidwell, 24. You got to go to Marco Luciano, 23. These are inspiring thoughts for a manager, especially your caliber, to have all these young, talented players there.
Well, it is. You know, it's sometimes it's a nice change of pace. You know, you get the young bucks in here, and you know they're looking to get better. They're looking to improve, and you know, and all of them. You know, and I know we've only had some of those guys for a few weeks or for a few days, I think, along the way, but. You know, anytime from a manager standpoint or a coaching standpoint, you know, you want to have young guys and you want to have guys that you can get your hands on, and, you know, have our staff and, you know, hitting coaches and pitching coaches and things like that, where, you know, the ability, you know, to learn and help develop is probably why you coach in the minor leagues. It's probably why, you know, every day you come to work and it's like, hey, you know what, you know, they're fun to work with. And it's not that they're not, you know, the 30-year-olds aren't, but they're more of a finished product, and, you know, they're already a byproduct, you know, and already been coached all their life and everything like that. But these guys are just now coming into their own. And, you know, at times you almost want them to make mistakes so we can learn from those mistakes, you know, along the way. And, you know, helping, you know, Eldridge, you know, and Cabby working with Eldridge at first base, and, you know, watching him grow in front of our eyes, and PJ working with him in the cage, you know, and seeing, you know, results along the way. You know, that's why we coach. And that's why we come to work every day. And not to say that, you know, 30-year-olds aren't you know a finished product, but at the same time, you understand what I'm saying, where, you know, I think just along the way, you know, the younger guys have more to learn, and that's what's, you know, enjoyable about coaching.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show, my good friend and manager of the Sacramento Rivercats, Dave Brundage. When players come over in trades, as you just talked about, with Blade Tidwell and Drew Gilbert and Jesus Rodriguez, you have to kind of see what they have first before there's any kind of adjustments. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, the first thing, you don't come in, you know, first day, and, you know, it's like getting to spring training, and you know, you let them, you know, succeed and fail, and you know, coachable moments and things like that. Sure, you have that, but, you know, for the most part, you know, they've you know, been elsewhere. You kind of want to see what they're about. You want to get to know them. You want to welcome them, you know, to the organization. You want them to feel comfortable, and, you know, and I think we do a pretty good job of hey, you know what? We want them to be as, you know, we're proud of our organization and we're proud of the San Francisco Giants. So when someone does come in, we want to be different than everybody else. I think that's, you know, getting them comfortable as soon as possible and helping them understand that, hey, you know what? You've got an opportunity of a lifetime here. And, you know, you got traded for, and, you know, we picked you up and, you know, we wanted you and you were a big part of, you know, those deals and everything like that. And we gave away good players. So, you know, I think in retrospect, you want to make sure they're comfortable so they can succeed. And, you know, it's been pretty cool actually, because kind of seeing what, you know, what direction these guys are going and the impressions that they've made just in a short period of time.
Dave, of course, players come down from the big leagues. Tyler Fitzgerald, Brett Wisely, two players that were impactful when they were up here. They played a lot of games. They got a lot of at-bats. Of course, adversity pushed them right back down to AAA through a move or an injury. How do these guys react to you, and how do you react to them?
Well, I think, you know, first and foremost, they've obviously, you know, getting sent down, they've got stuff to work on. You know, we all saw what Fitzgerald could do at the big league level. We've seen what Matos can do at the big league level. We've seen, you know, what Wisely can do, you know, and sometimes it's an adjustment, you know, just along the way. You know, I'm a big believer in Fitzgerald, and I really think that, you know, the young man's going to hit and be a good major league player for quite some time. You know, everybody goes through, you know, failures and slumps and things like that, and, you know, trying to find it and what experience can they draw from. They don't really have any because they've always played every day at the minor league level, and when they do get that opportunity, you know, and Fitzy took advantage last year, and obviously that's why he was the second baseman. But, you know, I mean, he's in search of himself. He's trying to find himself. He works hard. He's a great young man, and I tell you what, you know, a lot of people believe in him. It's just now a matter of getting that confidence back and getting to where he needs to be. I mean, Wisely kind of like a little bit in the same boat, you know, along the way, kind of up and down. A lot of these guys go to the big leagues and, you know, they don't get that everyday playing time along the way, kind of like Wisely, and being a utility guy, having to adjust to that. And, you know, I just want to make sure, hey, down here, you know, they get more playing time, and it, you know, we get to see what they can and can't do on a daily basis, you know, and they kind of put all that pressure on themselves. They want to do so well, you know, so they do stay there. But at the same time, there's things to work on here, you know, to get them to where they can have success at the big league level on an everyday basis.
Dave Brundage, the manager of the Sacramento River Cats, on Extra Innings with me for a few more minutes. We always talk about players going down. Well, let's talk about a player coming up from the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Thomas Gavello really did really well in Double-A, hit .261, 6 doubles, 3 home runs, but he's proving that he can play at the Triple-A level right now, hitting .350. He's got 3 home runs, 4 doubles, playing third base for you. Tell me a little bit about this kid.
Hey, I tell you what, he's a baseball player, and, you know, by that I mean, you know, the utmost respect, because the way he goes about his job, you know, he doesn't take anything for granted. I think that he started the season on the development list in Eugene. So these are the fun stories, and these are the things that we, you know, that you look forward to, and you know, you like to see when someone blossoms. Hey, look, you know, he's not the big #1 prospect. But I tell you what, you know what, he plays the game the right way. He does a lot of things well. He's got some talent. He's got a strong arm. He's played third base. He's played second base. He's swung the bat, you know, right out of the chute. He's had good at bats versus right-handers, left-handers, you know, and he's opened some eyes in the organization. You know, but that's what this game's all about. It's not just about, hey, you know what, the guys who you pay the money to and you know, the first-round draft picks and everything like that. You know, these are the fun stories, and these are the guys, you know, you love working with just as much as everyone else. You know, you look at a story like Spencer Bivens, you know, and things like that, where, you know what, you know, kind of comes from a background where he didn't take anything for granted, and obviously he's pitching in the big leagues. You know, Thomas Gavello has done an outstanding job here. He comes to play every day. He's a great teammate. The way he goes about his work, you know, and pretty talented too. Runs well. He throws well. He's got some power. He's swung the bat. You know, what more can you ask? And really has gone about his business, you know, the correct way.
Dave, those are baseball stories. Those are lifers. That's what you and I thrive on. When you see stuff like that and you watch them work and you get that opportunity and he's got that opportunity, and he should be happy to have you as a manager because your eyes are on him every day. Let's go to a upcoming player. Of course, we got to talk about Marco Luciano, moving from the infield to the outfield, hitting balls right out of the yard. 20 home runs, 16 doubles. Batting average is down, of course. How is he doing in the outfield? Has he overcome all the things that he had to do to learn that position?
Well, I think he's still a work in progress. I mean, it's not going to happen over. Young man hadn't played the outfield ever in his life, and had always played shortstop, and dealing with a lot of different things. Dealing with some adversity, and it's as far as, hey, taking him off the dirt in the infield, tell him he's going to go to the outfield, tell him he has to learn that every day, and yeah, you know what, the power has come around, and he's driving balls. He doesn't hit cheap homers. He's got a ton of power, and I know everybody knows that. But now we'd like to see, hey, the batting average, the more consistent at bats, the week to week, the month to month, and things like that. Just as far as getting the batting average up. His on base percentage is decent. He takes his walks along the way, week to week. He's passive one week and he's aggressive the next week, and kind of finding himself. He's improving in the outfield. He's not to where he needs to be, from a perfect standpoint. But I think he enjoys the outfield. He works at his craft. He's always out in left field, always working. He's always throwing the bases on a daily basis. And now, if we get the whole package to come around, we've got a pretty darn good player. And I know, he had all these high expectations and things like that. And I think, we've kind of lowered the expectations and said, here, this is who you need to be, and this is what you need to do in order to get yourself back to the big leagues.
Dave, as we finish up, you talked about him a little earlier. Bryce Eldridge, 20 years old, 6'7", a real tall hitter. Extension going to the opposite way has just been remarkable. The batting average is coming a little bit better. How is he at first base? Is he accustomed to it? Is he getting better playing it?
He is. You know what? And I feel like I mentioned in front of our eyes that, I think one of his best attributes is his willingness to learn. And, he wants to get better every day. He's absorbing information, and we've hit him with a lot of stuff. Hobart Cabrera, works with him every single day. We've had Wotus in town on numerous occasions, and he's out here hitting them up. JT Snow is hitting them up. There's a lot of good information that's going along, and everyone's all in and trying to help him get better defensively, including himself. And I think that's the one thing that's pretty impressive. The young man wants to learn. The young man wants to do well. He's hard on himself, but he also knows that he's got work to be done. And, the footwork around the bags and, and the angles to the balls and, picking baseballs and moving your feet at first base and utilizing your 6'7" frame along the way. And he's made some nice plays. And you know what? We're trying to get, maybe a better reaction out of him at first base. Better jumps on balls and right to left and left to right, all these kind of things. But there's a lot to learn every day. And I think, the one great thing that Cabby does is it doesn't let any, stone go unturned, I think, along the way. Hoping, when he does make mistakes that, that he's on it right away, and his willingness to, like I said, to get better. He understands that everybody means well. Everybody wants him to get better, and he's all in on it.
Dave, my last question is an opinion. Jen Powell, the first female umpire that's going to umpire in the major leagues this weekend. Your thoughts? Have you seen her umpire? Have you know anything about her? And do you think this is a good move for Major League Baseball?
Well, I knew you're going to put me on the spot there, aren't you?
Yeah, I have to. You're the manager.
You know what? And I understand. You know what? Yes. I mean, I've seen Jen. Jen's been behind the plate. She's had good games and she's had bad games, just like everybody else.
Sure.
I think the one thing that I did say, and the one thing that I, minor league umpires have really improved, and for one reason and one reason only is because of the ABS system, and because it forces you to understand what the strike zone is all about. You're not going to stand back there and just get embarrassed every time when the player's challenged, and then you just miss, one after another after another. You know what? Sooner or later, you're going to figure it out. And I think right now, that the AAA umpires probably, at this level, when we get crews from the other league and everybody, they just bounce around. So we've seen pretty much, I think, all the crews pretty much throughout the season so far, and it forces those umpires to be, held accountable. And just the way, it holds the players accountable. And I would imagine here at some point in time, Major League Baseball will be going to the ABS system, because it holds umpires accountable. You can't just call, strikes, 2 balls off the plate. I've seen a huge improvement from the minor league umpires here at AAA level. And, now it's to the point where, you don't see the misses nearly. So I think, along the way, Jen's going to be fine, because she's going to understand, because she's got that under her belt, what she's gone through as far as the strike zone and everything like that, and understanding that, hey, you know what, you can't be calling strikes that are 2 balls off, 3 balls off, like it's been in the past. I think the ones, to be honest with you, is going to be the veteran umpires at the major league level, that have called that, they've called that ball a strike their entire career, and now it's not, and it's going to get challenged, time after time. And, it's going to help clean up baseball a little bit, and it's going to hold a lot of people accountable, which I really actually enjoy.
Well, see, Dave, I asked the manager of the year a quick question, and you give me a great answer, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
All right, Bill. Yep, absolutely. Yep, anytime.
All right, that was Dave Brundage on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Back on the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. Is a Sunday evening coming up here in Northern California. Giants lose earlier to the Washington Nationals, 8-0. 8 runs, 17 hits for the Nationals. Giants only had 3 hits, no runs, 3 hits. That's their 11th shutout on the year. They're now 59-59 with the San Diego Padres coming into town. Logan Webb on the hill tomorrow. He's 10-8 with a 3.24 earned run average. TBA for the Padres. It could be Hugh Darvish. We just don't have an actual probable pitcher, but we'll know most likely by tomorrow morning. But Logan Webb on the hill, first pitch right here, 6:45 on KNBR. Tuesday's another 6:45 game. Robbie Ray will be on the hill for the Giants, 9-5 with a 2.85 earned run average. So ace number 1 and ace number 2 going against the Padres on Monday and Tuesday. Coming up next, I sat down with Andrew Kisner. Of course, he came over. He played with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he also played with the Texas Rangers. Had some time in the big leagues, but really filled in as a backup catcher extremely well. And I wanted to get Giants fans to get to know him a little bit. Really a nice guy. Great interview coming up. So that's coming up next right here on the Extra Inning postgame show. I sit down with Andrew Kisner, and Giants fans will get to know him in a minute. We'll be right back right here on the Sports. Did you ever think you could become a big league baseball player? Well, now you can. Come to Big League Coaching Fantasy Camp. It's January 11th through January 17th, 2026 in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Our host hotel is the Marriott Suites for the week. Come play with the great coaches, Joe Youngblood, Shooty Babbitt, Tim Flannery, Scott Garrelts, Mark Davis. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org and sign up today. Become a big leaguer.
listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. My guest wears number 21 for the San Francisco Giants. Let's welcome in Andrew Kisner. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me. And of course, as a catcher, I always ask these questions. I was a professional pitcher. It's August. How are the knees doing? How's the hands doing? How's the lower back doing? How's the body feeling?
I'll tell you what, I'm just hitting stride right now. This is the point where, you do feel a little banged up, but you got to fight through it and keep pushing and, just keep on going because these are the games down the stretch that, really matter in that playoff push.
Andrew, so many pitchers have different pitches. Of course, the sinker, the right-hand sinker comes right in on your thumb, on your left-hand catching glove. Do you wear a pad? Do you wear a thumb guard?
I do wear a thumb guard, and I always joke around with, guys on the team. If I lose that thumb guard, that's like my number one thing I have to have every single road trip. I make sure I have that. I have like 3 or 4 backups in my catcher's bag just in case it cracks. Guys are throwing harder and harder these days with so much nasty movement. It's so easy to crack that thumb guard. So, I always make sure I have a couple extra on hand because, my thumb really needs it.
Andrew, you grew up in Virginia. You went to Hanover High School. Your senior year hit really well, 453, won a city championship, a state championship. You were a third baseman then. When did you turn over to be a catcher?
So in high school, I was actually a shortstop.
Wow.
So I was a shortstop all the way through high school, pretty much my whole life, growing up, little league, travel ball, high school. I went to NC State as a shortstop, but we had another guy that was a few years older than me. His name was Trey Turner, was a shortstop at NC State when I came in. So, of course, I wasn't going to take his job. So I slid over, played third base my freshman year at NC State. And then I had a really good year, freshman All-American, hit 330, played great. I went and played in Cape Cod that summer, and I was playing in Cape Cod as a third baseman. And, in the middle of the summer, I got a call from our assistant coach, Chris Hart. He said, "Hey, what do you think about catching?" And I said, "Catching? I've never caught in my life. I was a shortstop. Now I'm playing third base." And, just based off of team need, we had a couple catchers transfer out. Guy got drafted. We had no catchers on the roster. So they thought I was a good fit, as far as, my personality makeup and my hands behind the plate and leadership quality, enough to give it a shot. And here we are today.
Andrew Kisner joining me on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Go back to Cape Cod. I also played there. One of the best summer ball leagues. Of course, so many great college players play there. How did you enjoy playing at the Cape?
I love playing in the Cape. I actually did 2 different stints up there, both for the Wareham Gatemen.
Mm-hmm.
My host family, my second year, I still am in contact with today. They're just absolutely great people. Made my experience just top notch. But like you said, you're playing against some of the best players in the country, using a wood bat really for the first time. So it's definitely a tough league to play in, but definitely something I look back on that, I look at it as it really helped me kind of transition into that pro ball phase the following year.
Fans listening to the show don't understand when you get going out to the Cape Cod, you do play and live with families and you get to know other people out the Cape Cod. I did the same. It's a rewarding experience, just meeting some different people. They're welcoming you into their homes. Tell me a little bit about that experience when you first went out there.
Yeah, it's it's kind of luck of the draw with who you get assigned to live with. But the Reardon family actually requested me because Rob Reardon, he was helping out doing some of the photography and things like that for the team, and his sons were the Bat Boys. So I'd been around the first year I played in Wareham, so they had requested me when they knew I was coming back for a second year. So it was nice to get in there and live with them. They got a great family, really, really nice people. Like I said, still in contact with them today, and they follow me and keep in touch. And it's it's just overall a great experience being able to, especially being in a family with younger kids and being able to hang out with the younger the younger generation of baseball players. It's a fun time.
So from Cape Cod, you go back to North Carolina State University, the Wolfpack, and your junior year, you hit 292, 6 home runs, 30 RBIs, a 995 fielding average. How was it to go back and put the catching gear on and learn a whole new position?
It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of bruises all over my body, pretty much that whole fall and that whole spring. Um, being an infielder, I've, always had good hands and, could move around pretty well. But the thing that I really lacked early on was the flexibility. People don't understand how flexible and how quick you have to be able to move in some weird positions when you're behind the plate. And this is back before everybody was doing the one knee stance and things like that. So this is like traditional stance. So, your adductors, your hips, your groin, glutes, all that, you really needed to be really, really flexible to get low and frame pitches and block pitches. So, that transition wasn't tough or was tough, excuse me. But it's something that, every day I try to get better at it every single day. And obviously I think it was a pretty good career choice of switching positions and going behind the plate.
Andrew, 2016 comes around. The St. Louis Cardinals draft you. You end up signing a professional contract. Excited at the time? Did you know much about the St. Louis Cardinal organization?
I was very excited. When I went into college, I was like, just really excited that I got a scholarship and, would help pay for some school and also get to play some baseball. So I really had no expectations of getting drafted when I went to college. And after a few good years, I was like, oh, this could be, something that, I can make a career out of. So obviously, yeah, really excited to get drafted. Didn't know too much about the Cardinals. I'm from Virginia. I grew up a Yankees fan because of Derek Jeter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd never really followed the Cardinals that much, but it wasn't long after getting drafted that the Cardinals started, pushing that Cardinal way. And, you had so many, great former players coming back in spring training and being around that you learn a lot of that history really, really quick.
Well, you get drafted 2016 and June 2nd, 2019, your Major League Baseball debut. One of the best days of our lives, as I did the same thing. You remember the day? Do you remember getting called up? And what was the first impression you had?
Yes, I remember the day. I was about to head to the field in Memphis playing in AAA and got a phone call from the manager saying they needed me for the game that night. So, it was kind of a whirlwind to start, making all the phone calls, parents, girlfriend, now my wife at the time. So it was a whirlwind, packing everything up, getting the car loaded, doing that drive to St. Louis. It was just, stepping into Busch Stadium and being able to play on that field, which is, I think, one of the better fields in the game, in front of a great fan base, on a team that, ended up losing in the NLCS. So, it was I had to step in right away and perform on a team that had, World Series aspirations. It was a special season, special time.
What a pitching staff you jump into, and especially with Yadi Molina still there. You had Adam Wainwright, Dakota Hudson, Jack Flaherty. I mean, the names just keep coming off. One of the best pitching staffs the Cardinals had at that time. You had to learn this, and you had to learn a little bit quicker than you usually do. And at that time, what were some of the first impressions you had with that pitching staff?
Well, the nice thing about the Cardinals is a lot of the guys that were in the staff and in the bullpen, I had come up with them through the minor leagues, especially the younger players. And I think, obviously I've been with the Cardinals in multiple spring training. So I've had a chance to really catch everybody and learn their personalities and how they like to pitch. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? You can look at scouting reports and say, oh, he throws this pitch and that pitch. But the number one thing is you got to learn these guys' personalities. You have to learn how they like to pitch, when they like to throw certain pitches in different situations. And I think that's the thing, that you have to build up over time. And that's the nice thing about being with the Cardinals and debuting with the Cardinals and being with them for a while is I could really dive deep into those personal relationships and building that trust.
Andrew, you talk about learning the position of being a catcher. Now you're a very good defensive catcher. You put a lot of work in blocking the balls, release, throwing the ball, just all the different variables of being a catcher. How do you do this year to year to get better?
It's something that, like you said, catching's a very um, fine-tuned, skilled position where just the smallest change in movement can help you become a better defender. I've had the chance last year where I really took off defensively to work with Bobby Wilson with the Texas Rangers, who is like a catching guru. He's worked with, some Gold Glovers, Trevino and Jonah Heim, and being able to learn from him last year, especially to really clean up my receiving mechanics and put me on the map as a one of the top receivers in the game was huge for my career. And then carrying it over into this year with Alex Berg as the catching coach is absolutely outstanding. He's really, really good, very smart when it comes to all the fine details of the catching position. And I've been able to learn a lot and improve throwing, blocking, receiving this season as well. So, I've had the opportunity the last couple of years to learn from two of the great catching coaches in the game, and I think that's really helped me a lot.
Well, as you said, you move on from the Cardinals to the Rangers, and of course, Bruce Bochy is your manager. Of course, he was one of the great managers here with the Giants. And you also have Bob Melvin, another catcher. Both of these guys are managers, and they're both fine catchers. When you talk to both of these managers, what are some of the things they talk to you about in maintaining the game, educating the game, learning the pitchers, and of course, calling the game?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about two of the greats right there. Not only great players in their times, but also two of the best managers that have ever managed in the game. And to be able to watch how they manage games and how they kind of work with the staff themselves, I can learn a lot. Just watching and observing those guys. But a lot of the conversations revolve around game management, and that's something I had to learn early in my career too, playing behind Yadier Molina, who's maybe the best to ever do it. You know, that guy played so many games. Yadi played so many games, knew so many situations. Nothing surprised him. And then me, being a younger guy on that team playing behind Yadi, I really have to show the team and the staff I can control the game just as well as Yachty. So that's something I really had to study early on, game management, handling situations, and handling the staff.
A few more minutes with Andrew Kisner, number 21 with the San Francisco Giants. You just said something that's real important to pitchers. Of course, the pitch clock, knowing how many seconds are left before you lose that pitch. How do you maintain that? How do you watch that? How do you keep your pitchers in line?
When the pitch clock first came, it was tough. It was tough to get that transition going, find that rhythm. Nowadays, guys are so good with the pitch clock. Guys have that, a faster internal clock. So I think the number one thing as far as the catcher, myself, kind of controlling the pace of the play is getting the pitch to the pitcher as fast as I can. So once I throw that ball back after I catch a pitch, I'm going right to the pitch comm, giving him the pitch, which then allows him to, either say, yes, I want to throw that pitch, or be able to shake it off. And we get to the right pitch in enough time for him to catch his breath, grab the rosin bag, and get ready to throw the next pitch. So I do think the pitch comm is a tricky thing, but I do think it's good for the game and good for the pace of the game. And, pitchers are starting to really get the hang of it. And, I think guys are, becoming better conditioned.
Andrew, you and Robbie Ray have become a very good battery mate. You both work so well together. What is it that you and him bring to each other where not too many shakeoffs, and you guys literally move through a game pretty rapidly?
Yeah, well, anytime I get to, get a chance to catch a great pitcher like Robbie Ray, Cy Young winner, it makes my job really easy, because he's got, 4 or 5 plus quality pitches that we can really throw in any count. His strengths really outweigh the hitter's strengths any moment in that game. So I always have full confidence in Robbie that he's going to, execute a pitch and get a quality out. But, I think the number one thing is the communication. I think we have great communication leading up to the start, talking about the hitters. I'm in the dugout. I'm talking to Robbie as much as I can to see what he's thinking, how he's feeling, what does he want to focus on this next start. And then obviously the day of, we have a great game plan going into it. And, Robbie's a very cool in the head type player. So, he never gets too riled up and too out of whack. He just is always just nice and cool. He trusts the process. We have good conversations in the dugout, and we go out there and just execute the game plan.
As we finish up with Andrew Kisner on the Extra Inning Postgame Show, of course, coming over wearing that Giant uniform, the rival is the LA Dodgers. Take me through that home run you hit at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that was a good swing. It took me a while to get that first hit in the Giants uniform, but finally to get that first hit, especially being a home run and in Dodger Stadium in that rivalry series, that was a special moment to start my Giants career, and hopefully got a few more of those home runs coming.
Andrew, thank you for your time today. Continued success, and keep those pitchers throwing strikes.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
That was Andrew Kisner on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
From the mound to the mic, this is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him by saying to your smart speaker, play KNBR.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show as we close out a Sunday, and it was a spirited show. I appreciate all the comments and all the phone calls from Giant fans, Giant listeners, and, of course, myself with the thoughts I had and the feelings I have to make this team better, and we all want this Giants team to win. And tomorrow, a new series comes to fact, and it's San Diego Padres, a tough opponent. Logan Webb will be on the hill. He's 10-8 with a 3.24 earned run average. First pitch right here on KNBR at 6:45, and let's hope that the Giants can come back to life, as they did not do that today. They got shut out 8-0 by the Washington Nationals. Only 3 hits for the Giants, where the Nationals had 8 runs on 17 hits. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals, and now the firing Padres come to town. So tomorrow, like I said, 6:45 first pitch, Logan Webb. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Robbie Ray will be on the hill also at 6:45. I want to thank my guests today, Andrew Kisner and Dave Brundage. You can hear both those interviews if you missed those on the All KNBR podcast. I want to thank my producer, Kyle Haar, and Ryan for picking up all the calls. I'll be back Wednesday and Thursday on the Sports Phone KNBR shows, and then also doing a post-game show Friday, and Extra Innings will be back on next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday, I'll also be doing a warm-up show, so a lot of radio shows coming on for me, I can put it that way. So for Bill Laskey, have a great Sunday. Let's hope the Giants can come back and get a win tomorrow. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.